I hope you are happy. I really hope y'all are happy. And I'll give y'all a chance to get into the chat before we start. But, what a joke. What a fucking joke. New year, same WWE, guys. Like, are we surprised? Nope. Like, honestly, are you guys surprised? Really? Like, Anthony says my mic's, like, how's the mic sounding? Hold up. You gotta fix something? Let me know how it sounds. I don't know. It sounds fine. Sounds fine on my end. Let me know. I don't know. Y'all can hear me, right? Yeah, I think we're good. Might be something, but I think, yeah, we're good. But anyway, fuck WWE, man. Fuck. Like, I can't sit here and say I'm surprised. I'm not surprised. We know how WWE is. We know, right? But hey, you guys, that are happy with the outcome of the main event tonight. Congratulations, we have a part-timer as champion. One of the biggest issues that WWE has had for years, right? Part-timers as champions. We're in a new year. It's the first day of 2022, and WWE is already making the same stupid mistakes that they've been making for the last decade and a half. Right? Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Some of y'all want to say the right person won, but the wrong person take the pin. Get out of here. Honestly, get out of here. Seriously, if you're happy that Brock Lesnar won, please, just leave the chat. Honestly, it's a bunch of nonsense. It really is. Oh yeah, man. Oh, Brock Lesnar's title reign is gonna last till WrestleMania. So the whole all of 2021 that we spent trying to build Big E up. Remember that? Remember at the first draft at the beginning of last year when Big E was moved to SmackDown by himself, right? When you sent the New Day over the Monday Night Raw, when they wanted to build up Big E as a single star, right? You had Big E become the Intercontinental Champion. Then you eventually had him win Money in the Bank later in the year. You had Big E pin the former WWE Champion, Bobby Lashley, and he even pinned the WWE Champion before that in Drew McIntyre. You spent all of last year building up Big E as a big main event star, and he checked every box. He wasn't even the goofy Brock Lesnar of old. Or not a Big E of old. He wasn't coming out with the pancakes. He wasn't even making the same jokes. He was actually a serious Big E. But no, that's not enough for WWE. He proved them on every single level. You have him going up to big boxing fights, promoting the WWE. He crossed every single box for you. But when it comes to Roman and Brock Lesnar, right? Big E doesn't matter. We don't care about building up the next generation, right? It's all about Lesnar and Roman. It's all about the same old format. Here's something I want you guys to take from this podcast, right? What you guys saw in that main event tonight, and I don't care what anybody says, it was the same thing that Becky Lynch did to Bianca Belair at SummerSlam. That's what you just saw in that main event tonight. I don't care how good the match was. I don't care what anybody says. What they just did in that main event tonight was the same thing that Becky did to Bianca Belair at SummerSlam. And I don't care what any of y'all say. I don't. And Rachel, thank you for your $5 super chat. I appreciate it. But get that comment out of here. Brock's gonna save Raw. What the? Someone tell me, was there any problem with Big E as WWE champion? Seriously. So you're excited to go through the next 3 months at least, right? The next 3 months are part-time Brock. I'm not saying that I don't like Brock Lesnar. I like Lesnar. If you listen to this podcast like a sane person, right? You know how consistent I am. I did not want that outcome tonight. I did not want that outcome tonight. Seriously. Oh yeah, some people are going to say, oh, what if this leads to Lashley beating Lesnar at WrestleMania? Okay, I guess. You know, that's not as bad. But still, did we really have to do Big E like that today? Did we really have to do Big E like that? Remember, who was the one podcaster in the IWC that sat here and said that Big E should have beat Roman at Survivor Series? All of y'all like, no, Roman needs to win. Why? When Roman was too busy burying the entire main roster? Really? When Roman's running through everybody, right? You couldn't have thrown Big E a bone because you just had the show. You just had to show that Brock Lesnar or that Roman Reigns, right, is untouchable. You know, Roman is over everybody. And then no, you do it worse. You wait till 2 months later, day one, the first day of 2022, and what do you do? Same formula. We're back in 2015, guys. How many times have we been down this route with Brock Lesnar? How many WrestleManias? How many WrestleManias have we seen this? 2015? Right, we saw this in 2015. Let's go down the list. 2015, all right? 2016, he wasn't in any world title match. He faced Dean Ambrose. 2017, they did it with Goldberg, right? Oh, 2018, let's rerun 2015 and let's do Lesnar and Roman again, right? Oh, 2019, right? 2019, WrestleMania 35. Let's do it with Seth Rollins, right? Oh, I forgot. 2 years ago, WrestleMania 36 in the pandemic inside the freaking Performance Center. Let's do it again with Drew McIntyre. And then what? 27 last year, WrestleMania 37. I don't even know. I don't think Lesnar was on the card, but who cares, right? But I just counted what five WrestleManias, right? 2015, 2017. You know, and am I forgetting 2014? What happened at 2014? Because no, I don't think anything happened in 2014. Let me think. What was 20, but yeah, 2015, 2017, right? 2018, 2019, 2020, 5 years, right? 5 years, 5 WrestleManias. Out of the last 7, we've been doing this with Brock Lesnar. Oh yeah, let's run it back for a 6th time in 2022. It's the same thing. Every single time. It's always the same nonsense with this company. It always is. And let's see. We got some more super chats. Right? We got some more super chats. Right? Rachel says, what did Rachel say? Rachel says, Brock is not a part-timer. He's changed. Are you delusional? Rachel? I appreciate your super chat. I appreciate the support. But are you like, what? He's changed? What tells you he's changed? How many times do you think we're going to see Brock Lesnar from now to WrestleMania? What? Maybe the Royal Rumble, they do Brock versus Big E, you know, a rematch, right? Maybe that's what they do at WrestleMania, at Royal Rumble, right? But after Royal Rumble, you think we're going to see Brock Lesnar? You think we're really going to see Brock Lesnar? Because remember, there's another pay-per-view. There's at least one more pay-per-view between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, right? We have Fastlane, right? Fastlane and the Elimination Chamber. I don't know if we'll have both those pay-per-views again, but that's usually what WWE does, right? February and March. Do you really think we're going to see Brock Lesnar defend the WWE Championship at Elimination Chamber or Fastlane? No, I don't think we're going to see it. Right? No way. Right? The next time you see Lesnar, it's at the Royal Rumble. The next time he wrestles after that won't be till WrestleMania. But you guys are okay with that, right? You guys are okay with that. Look at SmackDown's main event scene, guys. Look at SmackDown's main event scene, right? Roman Reigns has nobody to face. Nobody to face outside of Drew McIntyre. The SmackDown main event scene is dead. Not because they don't have the talent, it's because you've had Roman Reigns run through everyone. everyone. So you look at Raw's main event scene. Raw actually has a solid main event scene. You have Bobby Lashley, you have Big E, you have Edge, you have Seth Rollins, you have KO, you have Finn Balor, right? You have a solid main event scene on Raw. You have about 7 guys. And I guess now you have Randy Orton, you have Lesnar. That's about 8 guys right there in your main event scene. All of them could be competing for the WWE Championship if WWE wanted to. But what? There basically is no WWE title picture now. Because seriously, what? If you do Brock and Big E at the Royal Rumble, they're not doing anything else with Brock after that. I'm telling you guys, you're going to get Brock at the Royal Rumble, right? And you're not going to see him until the build for WrestleMania. So probably not till March. You're not, even if it's Bobby Lashley, right? Still, your main event scene on Raw is going to be garbage for 2 months. But you guys, it's okay, right? Because we've got a part-timer as champion again. It's okay, right? Because Big E, who we were building up to be the next big star, where no, he really isn't our next big star, because it's always going to be Roman and Brock Lesnar. It's always going to be Becky and Charlotte. That's WWE's formula at the end of the day. That's what we can take away from day one. WWE will always be the same, no matter what year it is. No matter how much the calendar changes, WWE will never change. It will always be, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair. That's your takeaway from tonight, people. That's your takeaway from tonight. Just look at history. Who's always the champion when we go into WrestleMania? Who is always on top of the mountain around this time of year? It's never the new stars, right? Either it's the new stars that are now, they get released, right? Or it's the new stars that are not featured on the WrestleMania card. It's the same garbage every single year. And do you truly think that WWE's going to merge the divisions? It's not happening. It's not happening. Because, I thought of something as I was setting up for the review tonight. Guess what, guys? Guess what? Because, look, originally, we know that Roman Reigns got COVID. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But let's look at things like this, right? If Reigns was able to compete tonight, right? I realize this. Roman Reigns was set to retain. That was the plan. I don't know how the match would have went with Paul Heyman and all that other nonsense, but Roman Reigns was set to retain tonight, right? Because the live event schedule says that it was going to be the Universal Champion versus Drew McIntyre. And you guys know that Lesnar doesn't work live events. So what was going to happen is, right, they were going to have Roman beat Lesnar tonight. And since Lesnar is a free agent, right, because remember, all those times they had Lesnar remind us that he's a free agent, what they were going to do, they were going to have Lesnar walk on over to Raw. They were probably going to have Big E retain tonight, right? They were going to have Lesnar move his way to Raw because he's a free agent, and they were going to do Lesnar versus Big E at the Rumble. So if we do get Lesnar and Big E at the Rumble, like what's probably going to be the plan, that match was already going to take place, regardless of if Roman had COVID or not. That was always the plan, right? The only thing is now we're yet to see is if it's going to be Roman versus Lesnar, which I'm telling you, WWE's not smart enough to merge the divisions. They're not going to do that. The only way WWE would do that is to have Roman be elevated. And seriously, that would be a disaster. Because then, with only one world title on the main roster, Roman would just continue to bury everybody. They would have Roman walk over, have both titles, and then he would just bury Lashley. He would bury Big E. Well, Roman's already buried Big E. They would have Roman bury everybody else on Raw because he's already buried the SmackDown roster. And you guys think that's good? Seriously. Right? If this ends up with Lashley beating Lesnar, sure, maybe that's okay. We'll see where it goes. But the fact is, Big E gets done dirty. And I am not okay with that. I do not care what anybody says. Big E got done dirty. And he did not deserve that. Big E has checked every single box in proving that he should be a main event star for years to come. But instead, no, WWE, it's always the same formula around this time of year. Always the same thing. And it's just, it's garbage. It's garbage. I don't care what anybody says. Right? Rachel says also, what he says, maybe he was about to win if Roman was here. No, Rachel, use your head. Use your head. Brock was never going to beat Roman. Not now. Not at WrestleMania. Not at the Rumble. Never. Nobody's beating Roman. That we honestly may never see Roman lose that title. And I can't take it anymore. The Roman fatigue has hit me deep. Seriously, there's nobody else for him to face. And you have buried how much talent? Really? It's Roman over everybody else. That's really what this tirade has been. I'm not saying Roman's not great, but how many main event stars have you pushed to the sideline in the process? SmackDown's main event scene is legitimately dead because you have nobody to challenge Roman. And even when you do have somebody to face Roman, it's not enjoyable because it's predictable. Because you know Roman's not losing. But you're okay with this. You're okay with this. Y'all really think if they would have merged the titles with Roman and Brock at Mania, that would be an answer? It would be the same thing. They would have Roman run through everybody else for the next year again. I am sick of it. It's not enjoyable to me anymore. Right? It's not enjoyable. I am now on the agenda of building up the next generation. Because Roman's been on top now for what? Close to a decade. So has Brock. It is time to build up the next generation. And you had one of the faces of the next generation in Big E. And you wasted it tonight. You wasted it. People are going to be like, oh no, Big E's fine. Big E's fine. Really? Seriously? Do you think Big E's going to get another championship run? I want to hope so. But I don't believe it. With the way they treated Big E tonight, look, I don't have the dirt sheets in front of me. I don't know what was the original plan. Because there was so many different rumors, going into this week before finding out Roman had COVID, which WWE knew in advance. But before Roman had COVID, right? Before all this stuff happened, I had no idea what was the original plan for day one. I want to assume that it was Big E retaining, but I had no idea. But after tonight, I don't care. Tonight, in that main event, no matter how great that match was, it was a great match. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. But no matter how great that match was, it was the wrong decision to have Lesnar win. I'm sorry. I'm not sitting here saying I don't like Lesnar as a babyface. Lesnar, this is probably the most entertaining Lesnar has been. But I do not want to go down this route that I've been seeing now for the past decade. I've been watching WWE for my entire life. For the last decade, it has been rinse and repeat with Roman and Lesnar. I am tired of it. I am sick of it. You finally had something new, something fresh, something I was enjoying with Big E. And then you go and you wreck that. All right, but no, everyone's happy that Lesnar's champion. Really, when Lesnar's not on Monday Night Raw, right? But how many weeks do we have till WrestleMania? Let's count. I got a calendar right here. Right? Let's count. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And into February, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You have about 13, 14 weeks till WrestleMania. How many times do you really think we're going to see Lesnar on Raw? I doubt less than 5. Less than 5. Maybe 6 if I'm being generous. You're not going to see Lesnar more than 6 times from now until WrestleMania on Monday Night Raw. Is that going to help the ratings that have been in a pit of despair for the last 6 years? No, it's not. No, it's not. Maybe you get, a little bit of a boost on Monday, right? You get a little bit of a boost on Monday with Lesnar as the new champion, and people want to see what's going to happen, which most likely will just be Big E challenging Lesnar to a rematch. But what else is going to happen, guys? Seriously, really. When you're complaining in February and March that Lesnar's not on TV, I'll be sitting here with my lemonade and my water being like, what did I tell you? What did I tell you? We're so excited seeing Lesnar win at day one. But here we are going back to the same thing we've been seeing with WWE for the last decade. And I am sick of it. I am honestly sick of it. I like Lesnar. I like this run he's been on. But I am sick of it. You don't need to have the same people as champion all the time. You don't. Why does WWE go back to the same formula and think it's going to work? Why do they continue to think it's going to work every single year? It never works. The ratings are not going to rise. They're not. Oh my gosh, man. It pisses me off. Because then I have my boy Anthony text me, oh, Lesnar needs to win. He's wearing his stupid Brock Lesnar shirt, right? Tell me this. When he knows what's going to happen. He knows exactly what's going to happen. But no, he thinks this is a good thing. He really. But no, Big E gets pinned by Roman at Survivor Series. Big E gets pinned clean in the ring like it was nothing by Big E, by Lesnar. But no, but nobody's complaining, right? Really. What? Like, I was so excited to see Big E walk into WrestleMania season as WWE Champion. I was so excited to see what potentially they could have done with Big E. There were so many possibilities in my head. Maybe Big E versus AJ Styles. Maybe Big E versus Edge, right? So many different possibilities. Maybe Big E versus Lesnar. You never know. But no, you completely wasted that tonight because y'all want the same thing we've been getting for the last 6 years. Really. If Lashley wins at WrestleMania, it's cool. I like Lashley. You guys know I love Bobby Lashley. But it's true. But the thing about it is, Lashley's had his moment. This was Big E's time. This was Big E's time, and you wasted it just to go back to the same thing we've been seeing. There's never anything new. There's never anything new, man. Really. Like I said, man, if you guys like that, good for you. But for me, I can't fuck with it. I don't fuck with it. I don't. And I will keep reminding you guys as WrestleMania season goes on because that's what I do, right? I'm one of the only people in the community that will give you the truth while everyone will be like, Brock Lesnar, WWE Champion, let's fucking go, right? No, I'm the only person that looks at this from the whole picture, right? The whole picture. Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins, they'll be fine. I have a feeling Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins are probably going to become a heel tag team. Right? I would not be surprised, right? And you guys hear this first from me. I would not be surprised if at WrestleMania it ends up being RK Bro versus Owens and Rollins for the Raw Tag Team Championships. Really, you've had RK Bro beat basically everybody but the Mysterios, which they'll probably do in the next couple weeks. There's nobody else for RK Bro to face, right? Rollins and Owens, what are they going to do at WrestleMania? I think that's probably the direction WWE's going to go in. RK Bro versus Rollins and Owens for the Raw Tag Team Championships, right? Now, I want to think that you're probably going to get Lashley and Brock finally at WrestleMania. That's what I want to think. Maybe they do a triple threat and Big E gets in there. But if they don't, I have no idea what you do with Big E, right? And I swear if I see someone say Big E versus Almas, like I'm going to lose my shit. I am going to lose my shit if that's what I hear. If I see Big E regulated, demoted to facing Almas after starting the year as WWE champion and after the 2021 that he had, then I don't care. Then I don't care. I'm going to rip this to shreds. And that's what ends up happening because I have a scary feeling that's where we're going, right? I have a feeling that it's going to end up being AJ Styles and Edge, right? And we may get Lashley and Brock if they don't merge the titles, right? I have a scary feeling it's going to end up being Big E and Almas at WrestleMania. If that's what happened, that shows truly how pathetic this company is. Seriously. I don't give a shit about Almas. I don't give a crap about Almas. Really. Because someone told me today that Almas, they were considering having Almas win the Royal Rumble and face Big E at WrestleMania. And yes, I will be the first to say that would have been a horrific decision. That would have been a terrible decision if they went down that route. But even still, now with what happened tonight, if this ends up with Big E being forced to face Almas one-on-one at WrestleMania, right? Two titans or however they want to, market it, two big men, then that just shows how pathetic this company truly is. And I will not accept it. I will not accept it. I will not. All right. Oh my gosh. All right. Let's look in the chat a little bit more. Right? Anthony says it's crazy because Brock made Seth a star, Drew a star. He puts people over. Just relax. Roman doesn't put anyone over. Who needs to be put over? Bobby Lashley is already a star. Bobby Lashley is already one of the most protected people on WWE television. Lashley was protected in that match tonight. Lashley doesn't need to be put over by Brock. But yeah, are we forgetting that Lashley walked into WrestleMania and walked out WWE Champion last year? Are we forgetting that Lashley held the WWE Championship for most of 2021 before Big E cashed in? Why does Brock need to put Lashley over? I get that it's a dream match. I want to see the match, but not like this. Not like this. And I do not care what any of y'all say. No, I'm sorry, no. What good does this do for Big E? Tell me. To what good? Because I don't see Big E regaining the WWE Championship anytime soon, even though he should have never lost that championship. How long has Big E been champion? Right? He won the title sometime in September? So barely, not even 4 months, because today's the first day of the year. Right? He held that title for what? A little over 3 months? Right? He should be walking into WrestleMania as champion. I do not care what any of y'all say. There is no need. Lesnar does not need to put Lashley over. Sorry. So don't give me that excuse. Don't give me that reasoning. I don't care. Do not give me that reasoning. That's not a valid reason to me. I'm sorry. It's not a valid reason to me. What else are y'all saying in the chat? Jermaine says WWE was going to take the title off Big E tonight. The person who truly got screwed was Lashley. No, Jermaine, I'm going to disagree with you too. Lashley didn't get screwed. Are you telling me Lashley got screwed when Lashley held the WWE Championship? Lashley held the WWE Championship for most of last year. And I love Bobby Lashley. I love Big E. I love most of the main eventers. I love Drew McIntyre. I love Bobby Lashley. I love Big E. But this was Big E's time. That's what you're not getting. How does Lashley get screwed? If anything, Lashley has the most to gain. If this goes where we think it's going, Lashley's going to walk out WWE Champion for the... Lashley's going to walk out of WrestleMania WWE Champion for the second year in a row. So Lashley doesn't get screwed at all. Who cares if Lashley was supposed to win tonight? If he wins at WrestleMania, that's a bigger moment for him. So no, Jermaine, I disagree with you, bro. I disagree with you 100%. Anthony, I don't agree with you, man. Lashley doesn't need to be put over. He's already a star. So what are y'all saying? What are y'all saying? Jermaine says, this is Vince McMahon telling you, in the end, Raw was supposed to have Becky as champion and Brock as champion going into WrestleMania. That's damn right. Right? Because Liv Morgan carried Becky. Oh, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Trust me. Because, sorry, I'm on that Liv Morgan winning at WrestleMania now. I am officially on the bandwagon of Liv Morgan needs to win at WrestleMania. I don't think Liv Morgan needs to win the Royal Rumble. That's Sasha Banks' time. But I am officially on the Liv Morgan needs to win at WrestleMania train after tonight. But we'll talk about that. Let's look what else you guys said in the chat. And the chat is active. I love when the chat is active, man, but damn, bro. Roman is going to be champ for a long time, unfortunately. Well, I remember my boy Anthony telling me sometime last year, Roman should hold that championship forever. I've been the one, guys, I've been sitting here. If you guys go back and watch the podcast, I've been sitting here since Daniel Bryan left WWE in April and May, whenever it was. I've been sitting here saying Roman Reigns, this thing with Roman Reigns is going to get old very, very quick. Here we are, 7-8 months later, and I've been one of the only consistent people in the community about this. Roman may never lose that championship, and I am fatigued. I'm not saying I don't like Roman Reigns, but I am sick and tired of his reign. Seriously, You've had him run through everybody. And if you merge the titles, you're going to have him run through everybody else to the point when there's nobody left. Because you want to make us believe that this match with The Rock is going to eventually happen. I'm not going to believe it happens until I see The Rock show up. Because The Rock's going to keep making movies. So until the day where The Rock versus Roman happens, right? I'm not going to believe it happens. Make me believe it. Make me see it with my own eyes. And even still, what makes you believe that The Rock would beat Roman? The Rock's only going to come back for that one match. That one match. The Rock's not going to be a part-timer. His insurance doesn't allow it. He has too much to lose from his movies. So there's no way in hell that The Rock would even beat Roman. So the longer this continues, the more and more tired I get of it. I'm sick of it. And you have nobody built up. Anybody that you could have had built up to be Roman, you've already released. Drew McIntyre may be the only person that could beat Roman for that title on the entire main roster. Don't say Walter, because you know they're not going to build Walter up. You think Vince gives a crap about Walter? Even though Walter put one of the best matches in all professional wrestling last year, you really think they're going to build up Walter to take that title from Roman? Hell no. I would be surprised if Vince knows Walter's name. Seriously. The Roman fatigue is real, people. And hold up. Give me a second. I need to turn on my freaking AC. Holy crap. Company's absolutely pathetic, guys. You don't want to try to convince me on, oh, Brock puts people over. I'm not saying I don't like Brock. I just don't like seeing the same thing I've been seeing for the last 7 years on WWE television. All right. Oh, look, we got smartasses in the chat. Look at this. We got Clark Bryan. This dude is speaking as if he's had experience booking match for the WWE. So you agree with WWE's booking? Hey, Clark. Hey, idiot. You agree with WWE's booking the last 6 years? Tell that to the ratings. Tell that to all the superstars that have left WWE for AEW, you clown. Right? I know how to book WWE better sitting behind this keyboard in my house, behind this microphone, behind this camera, than most of the people that get paid to do it. Please. You must be new to the channel. Seriously. If WWE did half the things I said, they would not be getting 1.5 ratings every single week. They wouldn't have their talent crying to get released. You wouldn't have Tony fucking Storm flying on a plane. So, paying for a plane out of her own money, quitting WWE because he's burnt out. Seriously. So next time you want to question me and my wrestling experience, yeah, there's a reason why you watch, you idiot. Please, don't ever try to doubt how good I know about WWE. But seriously, I know to book this company way better than most people. So what else? What? So let's look at what else people are saying in the chat. What else do y'all got to say? Because y'all are very active. Y'all are very, very active tonight. Yep. Thank you, Chris. At least someone understands it. First Bianca, now Big E. I'm telling you, this is the quote I want you guys to remember from tonight's podcast. And we're already almost 40 minutes in, but I will take as much time as I want. I don't care. The quote I want you guys to remember from tonight's podcast, what you just saw tonight happen to Big E was the same exact thing that Bianca had happen to her at SummerSlam with Becky Lynch. That's what I had to happen. I don't hate Brock Lesnar. I like Brock Lesnar a lot more than I like Becky Lynch. But you're not going to sit here and argue with me that that's not what happened tonight. You saw what happened. Big E got done dirty the same way Bianca did. Well, it was a great match, but the same thing happened. At least somebody in the chat knows what I'm talking about. What else do we have? Casey, I didn't even realize that. Casey, I did not even realize that. Big E got pinned in back-to-back pay-per-views. That's something that most people won't bring up, right? Because, yeah, you think about it. Well, Survivor Series and WWE, they didn't have a pay-per-view in December. There was no TLC or anything like that this year. Big E got pinned at Survivor Series, and a month and a half later, he gets pinned on the first day of the year by Brock Lesnar. How ironic. How ironic. Oh, man. What else? What else? Oh, what up, Jess? Good to see you. Bro, Anthony, man, you can deal with the chat. You know, usually, Anthony, I would be here defending you, but nah, I don't agree with you tonight, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Dog, don't tell me anything about AJ Styles and Almas' house show match. I heard about that. We're not talking about that right now. Edward, you're completely right. Big E got robbed. It's as simple as that. Simple as that. Man, the chat is, oh my gosh, chat is active. Thank you guys for being here, man, but woof. What else? What else do we got in the chat? Yep, Biggie got screwed. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep, Casey. Roman's title reign has been stale since I don't even know. Look, he's had great matches. I'm not sitting here. He's saying he hasn't had great matches, right? But Roman's title reign has been stale for more than half a year. It's the same thing every single feud. Same thing. Raku's, I already watched AEW. I post AEW reviews weekly now. So I don't know if you're talking to somebody else or if you're talking to me. When you know ease up on Roman, he's sick. I'm not talking about Roman Reigns, the guy. I'm talking about Roman Reigns, the TV character. We know Roman's gonna be back. Roman, the thing about it is, you guys act like Roman I know Roman just said he got positive today. The reason why Roman tested positive today is because they wanted to see if he would be negative so he could compete tonight. WWE's known for at least a week. Remember, Roman was pulled off the road well over 2 weeks ago. He was pulled off the road 2 weeks ago at house shows. So WWE has known Roman's been positive for a while. The only reason why Roman probably got tested again today, hoping that he would be negative so he could compete tonight. It wasn't until they found out that Roman was still positive that they saw, all right, they can't do the match tonight. It's that simple. So, and I'm not going off on Roman, the TV character. I'm not going on Joe. Remember, that's Roman's real name. His name is Joe. I'm talking about Roman, the TV character. We have every right to criticize Roman's TV character as much as we want. So what are we saying? What are we saying here, guys? I agree with you, Roy Nason. Roy Nason says, I don't have a problem with Lesnar. I just didn't want Lesnar as champion because I knew this shit would happen. I'm so sick of the rinse and repeat. Preach it to the choir, my friend. Preach it to the choir. Because some people don't get that. Some people like reliving the past, no matter how toxic it is. What the fuck? All right, so it looks like I've caught up to the trash. We mean ease up a little bit. We're talking about his TV character. Like, I could, like, what? Like, we can go off on Roman's TV character as much as we want. For all we know, Roman's probably doing fine right now. Roman's already in recovery. He'll be fine. I'm willing to bet Roman will probably be on SmackDown on Friday. He will probably be on SmackDown this week. So, like, there's nothing to worry about there. Oh my gosh. So, like, I don't know why people are getting pissed off at me but talk about Roman. I'm not talking about Roman, the real life person. So what are y'all saying? Anyway, guys, yeah, what a rant to start the show, man. 40-minute rant. And like I said, I know sometimes I can be a broken record, but sometimes I have to be. Because sometimes you just don't understand where I'm coming from. You guys just don't understand. Right? But, I had to go off about that. And I will keep probably repeating myself as we go through WrestleMania season. But anyway. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitz TV here, aka G Lauren 33. I am back here tonight with another episode of the Legit Shoot podcast. Here tonight with your WWE Day 1 review and results. And you can already tell the big topic of conversation tonight is the main event. Brock Lesnar is the new WWE Champion. He defeated Big E, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, and Bobby Lashley in what was a fantastic Fatal 5-Way match. It was a quick Fatal 5-Way match. I don't even know if this match went 10 minutes, but it was some of the best 10 minutes of action you'll see. It was just pure anarchy, a pure just chaos. It was like a demolition derby. It was very fast paced. Everyone got their moves up, right? Off. It was a great match. I'm just unhappy with the finish and the booking. I really am. And even though some part of me believes that we would have got to this result no matter what, right? Because, yeah, part of me believes we probably would have got to this result no matter what, because, Roman was going to beat Lesnar anyway if the match took place, right? Still, I'm just unhappy with it. I'm unhappy with how Big E got done dirty. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the same stuff all the time. Roman and Lesnar, Charlotte and Becky. I am tired of the same old shit. Anthony, I agree with you there. We all know how great Walter was as champion. Roman doesn't put anybody over as champion. He only elevates himself, right? And Lesnar, who's Lesnar gonna elevate? Big E's already been buried. You do the rematch at the Royal Rumble, Lesnar's not gonna elevate Big E. Because Big E's already been buried. Big E's not regaining that title now. I know some people want to believe there's a chance Big E beats Lesnar at Mania, but I don't think that's happening. I think we're most likely heading towards Lesnar and Lashley. It's either Lesnar or Lashley, or they're gonna merge the belts. But they're probably just gonna do Lesnar and Lashley. Probably because remember, Lesnar's a free agent. It's almost like Lesnar told you this was going to happen. The whole point of Lesnar being a free agent is they knew after the feud was done with Roman, they could easily send Lesnar to Raw. Easily. It's that simple. Because they're not having Roman lose. It's sad that, they have absolutely nobody built up outside of Drew McIntyre to defeat Roman. It truly is sad and kind of despicable, but this is WWE's bed, and they got to sleep it in at the end of the day. It's really that simple. This was WWE's choice, and here we are. But we're gonna go over the rest of this card because this show tonight. How do I feel about it? Look, it wasn't an awful pay-per-view. It wasn't. There was some decent in-ring action on this show. The main event was fantastic outside the finish. The start of the show was pretty damn good with the Usos and the New Day. They absolutely killed it. RK Bro versus the Street Profits was really well done. Liv Morgan carrying Becky Lynch. Yes, I will keep repeating that as many times as I say. Liv Morgan carried Becky Lynch tonight. Don't get it twisted. Becky Lynch didn't, carry Liv. Liv Morgan carried Becky Lynch tonight. And, and what was an underrated match. If I had to give an MVP performance tonight, right, the MVP performance goes to Liv Morgan. She absolutely killed it. And I'm going to keep saying this. Well, a lot of the stuff you guys are hearing me saying, I'm going to keep saying now that we're on the road to WrestleMania. We're on the road to the Royal Rumble, which means, in my book, the road to WrestleMania has officially begun. I will keep saying this. Sorry, hold on. My apologies. Liv Morgan, I am officially on the Liv Morgan should beat Becky Lynch at WrestleMania bandwagon. I'm sorry, guys. I like Bianca Belair, but I think the story should be Liv Morgan defeating Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. I don't know how you do it. Maybe you do a triple threat with Liv, Becky, and Bianca. Maybe we could get like a fatal 5-way, because you never know. Asuka could come back. Bayley could come back. I would not be surprised if WWE puts those two in the Raw Championship, the Raw Women's Championship hunt, right? Ronda Rousey, you never know. We never know about Ronda Rousey. If Ronda Rousey comes back, clearly it's most likely going to be Becky and Ronda at Mania. I feel like we all know that. But until Ronda comes back, we got to assume that she's not coming back. So, but no matter what WWE does, I'm officially on the Liv Morgan to defeat Becky Lynch at WrestleMania bandwagon. I don't care what anybody said. Honestly, Liv Morgan should have already defeated Becky. The time they should have done it was a couple weeks ago on Monday Night Raw. But, still after tonight, Liv Morgan was the MVP of the night. Sasha Banks needs to win the Royal Rumble, and at WrestleMania at night 1, I would have Sasha and Charlotte main event night 1. And then I would have Liv beat Becky at night 2. No matter if it's a 1-on-1, triple threat, fatal 4-way, fatal 5-way, that's what I would do. Okay? Like I said, there was some really good in-ring action tonight. It's the opening of the show. The Raw Tag Team Championship match was good. Becky and Liv did a great job because of Liv Morgan. I got to keep saying that. I got to remind you guys. And the main event was fantastic outside of the finish. But still, this wasn't a terrible pay-per-view. The crowd was horrific. That Atlanta crowd was terrible. Terrible. WWE trying to make you believe they had 13,000 people in there. I don't believe that for a second. I could believe maybe they had 10,000 people in there. But no way. That crowd was dead for parts of the show. WWE put in fake crowd noise. And, it looked like they even put a little bit of fake crowd footage. Really. That crowd was not good tonight. But still, it wasn't a horrific show. Wasn't a horrific way to end the year. And, of course, everybody's going to be talking about what happens now that we're on the road to the Royal Rumble. Right? WWE's going to probably get a little bit of boost in viewership now, because now that we are officially on the road to the Royal Rumble, and of course Lesnar's the new WWE champion once again, still people are going to be talking about WWE going forward, but so I'm just really unhappy with that main event. How many championship reigns does Lesnar have? Seriously, man. Like think about it for a sec, guys. With Lesnar's won a title almost every single year since 2014. So before we get back into the rest of day one, let someone tell me. I don't want to have to think about. I don't want to have to search it up. But still. I think I may have found it. Hold up. Okay, I found it. Here we go. So Lesnar was remember he's a 5-time, no, he's a 6-time WWE champion. Remember, he won 3 WWE championships during the end of the Attitude Era, right? In the early 2000s, he won 3, and then he won the WWE championship. Was it 2 times after that? May have been 2 times after that. I don't want to. I don't know. Because, 2014 when he beat Cena. Remember when he beat Kofi Kingston, right? Because, let me think, 2017, he won the Universal Championship. 2018, he was Universal Champion. So if I'm right, I think Lesnar's now a 9 or 10-time world champion, which is kind of crazy. But anyway, that's not really important. I just need, that was just on my mind kind of because it was on my mind because like damn, Lesnar has a lot of title wins. It's usually because Lesnar. I felt like Lesnar's have more championship reigns. It's probably because Lesnar's title reigns are usually really long because he's a part timer. So that's probably why. But anyway, let's get into day one tonight. We'll talk about Lesnar, of course, a little bit more. But yeah, Lesnar's a 9 or 10-time world champion. And remember, Lesnar's reigns are pretty damn long. Remember, he is the longest reigning Universal Champion, but I think Roman's going to be surpassing that sometime this month. Roman's going to become the longest reigning Universal Champion later this month. But anyway, let's get into it. So on the pre-show, we had Cesaro. I need to back this up a little bit. We had Cesaro and Ricochet versus Sheamus and Ridge Holland. Probably the biggest thing from this match is early on, Ricochet messed up. He did like a standing 450 splash, and then his knee hit Ridge Holland in the nose, and Holland had, he was busted open, and he was not able to compete. So it turned into a 2-on-1 handicap match. But it is rare because you almost never see a 2-on-1 handicap match with the heel as the handicap. It's usually always the babyface against a handicap. But Cesaro and Ricochet, you think they would have been able to win this, right? Especially as the babyfaces and having the numbers advantage. But Sheamus went the rest of the match by himself, and he actually did a really good job. You guys know I like Sheamus a lot. This was, that wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible. Near the end, Cesaro got the Sheamus in the swing and then the sharpshooter, but Sheamus was able to force the break. Then Sheamus did white noise the Ricochet, and then he got Cesaro with a bro kick to get the victory. So that was that. You guys know I like Sheamus. Can I get Sheamus versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the IC title, please? Like, you guys, I feel like I'm a broken record when I say this. Nakamura, as great as Nakamura has been, he really has done absolutely nothing with the IC championship. I don't think Nakamura has had one pay-per-view match since he won the title outside of his Survivor Series match with Damian Priest, which was on the pre-show, mind you. So why not give me Sheamus versus Nakamura for the IC title? I would love to see that. But we'll see. But that's about all I got to say about the about our pre-show match. But all right, getting into the main card, right? I'm kind of curious to see how long this podcast goes tonight. But anyway, getting into our first match of the night, we had for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, we had the New Day versus the Usos, right? In my opinion, one of the best WWE Tag Team rivalries in recent memory. These two teams, I've said it before, I'll say it again, it is impossible for these two teams to have a bad match. Their chemistry is absolutely, unmatched when it comes to tag team wrestling. And I would probably say that tonight you had the 4 best tag teams in the company going at it. One, of course, WWE has almost no tag teams these days, but you probably had the 4 best tag teams in the company going at it tonight. You had New Day and the Usos, and you had RK Bro against the Street Profits. And this match was fantastic. This was legitimately and the thing about it is, man, if you think about it, I believe the New Day and the Usos have faced off on television or on pay-per-view at least 10 times at this point. Seriously, if you look at it, how many times, remember back in 2015, 2016 when they were feuding, 2017 they feuded, I think at least close to 10 times these two teams have faced off on pay-per-view, and they've never given us a bad match. It would be very, very difficult to rank New Day and Usos matches because they kill it every single time. I would say probably the best match the New Day and the Usos ever had was probably their Hell in a Cell match from, I think that was 2017. But still, man, this match tonight might be up there. This was fantastic. Fantastic. You can't have a bad match with these two. You can't. The crowd, was actually in this match. The crowd was actually pretty into this match, and the New Day really did make you believe that, we may have seen new tag team champions tonight. I really did think that, so basically the Usos dominated early, but Kofi Kingston did a DDT. Then Woods got the hot tag. Then Woods delivered a side Russian leg sweep, right? I really enjoy, man, the offense from Xavier Woods. I tell you guys all the time how underrated Xavier Woods is in the ring. So then Woods went for a modified version of the Future Sox DDT, right? So then Jay was able to halt Woods' momentum, but Kingston regained it with a crossbody block for 2. Jimmy answered with an Uso splash, which I thought was going to be the finish of the match. But then the New Day kicked out, right? So then Jimmy applied the Tequila Sunrise, but Kingston was able to fight to the ropes. This got really good at the end. So Woods got sent to the floor, and they did the stereo super kicks. Then they did the stereo splash, where the stereo splashes. I thought this was then going to be the end of the match, but then Xavier Woods came out of nowhere to break up the fall and save the match for his team, right? And then I'm thinking, damn, how is this gonna, end? Because you almost never see someone be able to kick out or see someone break up a fall with the double splash. But then, this was really good. They got rid of Woods, and then they hit Kingston with a 3D tribute to the Dudley Boys. I did not see that coming. And they were able to get the win and retain the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. I really did like the finish of this match, especially with them using the 3D. You almost never see that. I don't think we've ever seen the Usos do the 3D. So that was great. I loved how this match ended, really with a finisher, with an iconic finisher that wasn't, the splash or anything like that. Plus, then, it opens the door for the Usos to use the move in the future since Kingston didn't kick out of it. So that was, really good. This was a fantastic match. Like I said, there's no way for the Usos and the New Day to have a bad match. This probably ends the feud for now. And I don't really know who the Usos feud with next, right? Maybe the Viking Raiders. I don't know. I can't remember what other tag teams are in the SmackDown tag team division. I don't know what you really do with the Usos. I don't. I love the New Day. It would have been kind of surprising if the New Day had won, but they're probably going to take a back seat for now. I just don't know who, if you have anybody that can contend with the Usos. If you do the War Raiders, it'll be a good match. Right, and I don't think we've seen the Usos in the War Raiders in the past, but still, entering WrestleMania season, we got to be thinking, right, like, who's gonna battle the Usos at WrestleMania for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, But this was a fantastic match and a fantastic way to start the show. Yeah. Once again, I want to give a quick shout out to Rachel. As we continue here, I want to give a shout out to Rachel. She gave 3 $5 super chats, so altogether 15. So shout out to Rachel for that. You guys know I don't ever ask you guys to donate. You guys want to. Everything you guys do donate does get reinvested back into the channel. But still, want to give a shout out to Rachel for that. Super chats are open if you guys want to donate. But I see Football Extremist in the chat. He said, I don't think they're unifying the titles. I think the plan's probably going to be Roman versus Drew at Mania for the WWE Championship, for the Universal Championship. And I think Lashley versus Lesnar for the WWE Championship, especially with that stare down that Lashley and Lesnar kind of had at the end of the night tonight. I think that's probably where they're going. I just don't think they're smart enough to merge the divisions. They're not. And thing is, I do not want to see Big E go for the U.S. Championship. That's a demotion, really. Big E, in my opinion, should have been walking in to WrestleMania as the WWE Champion. Now you're going to have him walk in and go for the U.S. Championship? I'm sorry. I'm not with that. I'm not with that. And I hate that. No. Anyway. Next up, we had Drew McIntyre versus Madcap Moss. This was a big, look, okay. The match wasn't awful, but I said this before day one. There was no reason for this match to be on this card. There was no reason for this match to be on the card whatsoever. I don't know why the hell it was on the card, right? And the fact is, it got way too much time. I understand, of course, with Roman getting COVID-19, it kind of opened up for some matches to go longer, right? Because instead of having 7 matches, they had 6 matches. But still, there was no reason for this match to be on the card whatsoever. The only reason why this match was on the card was for time purposes and because it's Drew McIntyre. He's one of the big stars in WWE, right? Why not have him on pay-per-view? Guys, think about it. Charlotte and Sasha were not on this card tonight at all. They weren't mentioned. They were nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. So the way I look at it, this match should have not been on the card. It was a waste of time, right? I was barely paying attention during this. I was making food for the most part. Even though I guess you could say Moss held his own, but still, I just didn't care about this at all. So near the end here, so McIntyre hit a low down, right? Then Moss hit a fallaway slam, which actually looked pretty good because McIntyre is a pretty big guy. So I was kind of surprised that Moss was able to get McIntyre up for the move so clean. But then McIntyre eventually hit the Claymore and got the win. The big thing is what happened after the match. So later in the night, McIntyre got interviewed, right? Talking about his win. He gave credit to Big E and Moss because even though they're pains in the asses, both can fight. But then all of a sudden he got ambushed by Corbin, and he got ambushed by Corbin and he got ambushed by Corbin from behind and Moss. And then what was very surprising is they did one of the crazy spots. Usually these spots are the ones that usually when they're writing someone off TV for a couple of months. So they did they put Corbin puts what's his name? McIntyre's head in the chair, and then they had I think it was Corbin. He grabbed some kind of like a rod, something like that, a huge rod, and they had him bang it on the chair, basically slamming McIntyre's neck, right? And then you had Adam Pearce running for medical assistance, and McIntyre sold it very, very well. Usually when they do that spot, that means that they're writing somebody off WWE TV for a little bit. I was thinking right away, depending on what was going to happen in our main event, this is, I guess, to keep McIntyre off TV for a little bit until they're ready to have him feud with Roman. Because I'm still thinking, if I had to go with my gut, I think what they're doing is Roman versus Drew for the Universal Championship at Mania. And I think it's going to be Lashley and Brock for the WWE Championship on the Raw side of things. But we'll see. It's either that or they're merging the titles. It's really either or. It's one of those two. I don't think anything else. Unless they do a triple threat with Brock, Big E, and Lashley. But that's really all I can think of. but we'll see. It was a very interesting spot. I don't want to see McIntyre on Friday on SmackDown because I hate when WWE does these crazy spots just to have, the person who got injured come back in a week because they're superhuman. We shouldn't see McIntyre for at least a couple weeks. Honestly, it shouldn't be a couple months, but I know WWE's not going to, keep McIntyre off TV. I'm willing to bet McIntyre will probably be in the Royal Rumble. So I don't expect to see McIntyre for a couple weeks, but we'll see what happens. It'll be very interesting to see how long they keep McIntyre off TV with this. But here's the thing, JDE, I see what you're talking about. But here's the thing, Big E's not winning. Big E's not winning the WWE Championship at Mania. It's not happening. Big E is not winning the WWE Championship at Mania. It's done. After tonight, Big E is out of the WWE title picture. It's either going to be Lesnar versus Lashley for the WWE Championship at Mania, or it's going to be Lashley and Roman, and they're going to merge the belts. It's one or the other. So, and like I said, if it ends up being Big E versus Almas at WrestleMania, it shows how pathetic WWE is. For Big E to go from being the WWE champion, right, with all the hype and everybody back him, to having to face a clown like Almas at WrestleMania, it just shows how pathetic WWE is. I don't know. We'll see what happens, man. But here's the thing. Big E's not winning the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. I don't even expect Big E to be in the WWE title match at WrestleMania anymore. And it's sad. The only way I see Big E getting a WrestleMania victory this year, if it's in against Almas or Owens or Rollins or something else like that. We'll see what happens, but I don't expect Big E to be getting that first WrestleMania victory for the WWE Championship anymore. I see Eric. Eric says, I still watch WWE. Yes, we do WWE and AEW on this channel now, right? It's not just WWE. We do both. It looks like you've been out of the loop for a while. Oh, it's sad, man. It's sad. I want to have hope that Big E will win the WWE Championship again later this year, but I have no idea. I have to see where they go. Because if Bobby Lashley turns babyface, like everyone thinks, is going to happen, right? Even though, I don't know, do you want to do a babyface Lesnar versus a babyface Big E? Do you want to do that at WrestleMania? I don't know. Or not Big E. Do you want to do a babyface Lesnar and a babyface Lashley at WrestleMania? I don't know. I don't know. But we'll just have to be patient and see in terms of that. I don't know. You know what you do. You can always turn Lesnar heel. That's not difficult at all, but Lesnar's pretty over as a babyface, and I feel like almost everyone's enjoying Lesnar as a babyface right now. So we'll see, but I don't know. I don't think Big E's winning that WWE Championship anytime soon, and that's sad because if you ask me, Big E should be walking into WrestleMania as the WWE champion. I love Big E as WWE champion, man, and I feel like they ended his reign way too soon. Way too soon. Yep, Roy Nation, I completely agree with you. I think they're gonna do Big E and Roman Big E and Lesnar at the Royal Rumble, and after that, Big E's done in the WWE title picture for now. Which is sad, but that's probably what's gonna happen. All right, let's continue. Next up, we had the Raw Tag Team Championship, RK Bro versus the Street Profits. This was another enjoyable match. You guys know, if there's one of the only positives about Monday Night Raw these days has been RK Bro, right? They were the tag team that everyone thought would never work, right? But they have been amazing as a tag team. I love RK Bro. They're one of the only good things about Monday Night Raw. Maybe the only good thing about Monday Night Raw outside of Big E. But They were defending against the Street Profits. Remember, the Street Profits beat the Mysterios on Monday Night Raw to earn this opportunity. And this was a good match. One of the big things is, since they were in Atlanta, right, even though that Atlanta crowd was very disappointing, they had the Migos, right? Corey Graves being cringe as always on the microphone. They had Corey Graves. He kept saying how the Migos were the most popular group in the game. He repeated it like 15 times during the course of this segment. It was kind of cringe. So you had the Migos come out with RK Bro, and still the match was good. The match was good. You knew these two teams were gonna have a good match. These are the two best teams on Monday Night Raw. Like I said, you basically got the four best teams in the entire company tonight, with the Usos, the New Day, RK Bro, and the Street Profits. And the match was good. There was a funny part of this match where Montez Ford comes in the ring and he's dancing, and Orton's like, "Are you done? Like, can we get this going?" So that was pretty funny. But anyway, the match was great. Ford did the dive over the ring post. I love when he does that move. I love Montez Ford. I love his offense, man. I love Montez Ford. I hope they have that OMG move in 2K22. I feel like Montez Ford would be so much fun to play with in WWE 2K22. But anyway, inside the ring, we got Riddle. He popped Ford up in the air. Orton did the Riddle popped Ford up in the air, and Riddle did a great job of selling it, right? And Orton delivered an RKO. So it really shows how far RK Bro has come with them coming up with that unique double team for the finish. Like, it came out of nowhere. We love the RKOs out of nowhere. And, this was a good title defense. After the match, the Migos joined the champions in the ring, right? The Street Profits came in, showed some good sportsmanship, and, all of them kind of celebrated together, to close out the segment. I said this earlier in the podcast, right? RK Bro, they've really run through most of the Raw Tag Team division. And really, I know some people are like, do you think WWE's going to pull the trigger and do Randy Orton versus Riddle at Mania? I feel like, personally, that's probably more of a SummerSlam thing, right? I think RK Bro is just way too popular to break up right now. You see how they're selling merch. Everybody loves them together as a unit, right? I feel like it would be a huge mistake, especially with how weak the tag division is in WWE right now, to break up RK Bro. So what I would do is, honestly, I think what they're probably going to do is next, RK Bro is probably going to feud with the Mysterios, since that's probably, I think, the only team RK Bro hasn't beat yet. So probably they're going to do RK Bro versus the Mysterios. And then, they might do that at the Rumble or something like that. And then after that, I think probably what's going to happen is, and like I said, I think they might do Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens versus RK Bro at WrestleMania. I'm starting to think of how WrestleMania is panning out, right? I don't think Owens or Rollins is going to be in the WWE Championship picture. And I think, I would not be surprised, since Rollins and Owens have kind of been working together the last month. I think we may see Rollins and Owens, be that heel duo to challenge RK Bro for the Raw Tag Team Championships going into WrestleMania. I could be wrong, but that's my prediction as of right now. All right, next. Chris says, I do think we could be getting close to a Street Profits heel turn. They've been baby faces now, right? Forever, basically the whole time they've been on the main roster. It might be what you need. If you want to continue the feud with RK Bro and the Street Profits, that's definitely an easy way to do it. The Street Profits are very over with the WWE Universe. They are very popular, right? And I do love the Street Profits, but definitely, if you need to switch things up a little bit, definitely, and you want to continue the feud, that's an easy thing you can do. You can easily have the Street Profits turn heel, right? And then you can continue the feud going to the Royal Rumble and maybe a little past that, right? So definitely, I would have no problem with the Street Profits turning heel, because you're not turning RK Bro heel. They're way too popular. So, and definitely, you could see maybe the Street Profits, they've had a couple chances at RK Bro. They haven't been able to get the job done. They could be getting a little frustrated, and maybe, they turn heel to have more of a mean streak. We'll see what happens, but I would not be surprised at all if the Street Profits turn heel to continue the feud. It's a good idea, and I'm honestly, maybe WWE should do it. It would be very interesting to see what the Street Profits would be as heels, because they have been baby faces their entire time as a tag team, going all the way back to NXT. But we'll see. Definitely, it's an interesting idea. It's a very interesting idea, if you ask me. All right, next up, we had Edge versus The Miz. Out of all the matches on this card, right, outside, of course, Madcap Moss versus McIntyre, this is the match I didn't give a crap about. Seriously, it's really that simple. We've talked about it for weeks here on the podcast. We have talked about how much we didn't care about this match. I'm gonna keep saying it. I really want to know what was Edge's thoughts when he first found out that the first match he was gonna have back on Raw, coming back, that he was gonna have to face freaking The Miz. Seriously, like there has been no story for this feud. I still had no idea why they were feuding. I've had no care for it, none whatsoever. I'm not gonna sit here and say the match was bad. Those two killed it. I'm not gonna say they killed it, but still, I had no idea what, and I had no care going to this match at all. I knew going in the match would probably not be terrible because of how great the Edge was last year. In my opinion, Edge was probably the MVP. Him and Roman and Seth, when we talk about the male MVPs, they were the MVPs of WWE in 2020, or 2021. Edge has not had a bad match since he's come back. So you knew the match would at least be okay because of how great Edge has been. But I still had zero care about this match at all. I had no care. I was not even paying attention for half the match. Like there was no story, nothing here whatsoever. So you had The Miz come out. He's kissing Maurice over and over again, right? Then the Edge came back with the broad theme entrance, basically the same exact entrance he had at SummerSlam. Even though it's a cool entrance, I'm sitting there thinking, why the hell are we wasting this entrance with a match on The Miz? I was like, why are we doing that? But whatever. But anyway, the match was whatever. Or the entrance was whatever. So basically, so Edge had the advantage early on, but then Maurice at ringside, you knew that she was going to get involved. Maurice distracted Edge, and that allowed Miz to take over. So then Miz bashed Edge's head into the announce table, right? Edge then countered and drove Miz's face into the table, which did not break. Then Miz sent Edge into the ring post. He added a chop block and did the figure four. I think I've said this before. Miz's figure four, him and Charlotte, they are absolutely awful when it comes to doing the figure four leg lock. Especially Charlotte knowing that her dad made that move famous. Still, Miz and Charlotte have terrible figure fours. So then Edge was able to eventually get a crossface in. Miz rode across the ring to reposition himself. So then, Maurice put Edge's foot, Maurice put Miz's foot on the bottom rope to force the rope break, right? And then Edge delivered a hip toss from the top rope, which looks beautiful. So then Maurice hit Edge with her pocketbook, allowing Miz to deliver the skull-crushing finale for a dramatic near fall, right? Maurice argued with the referee, but then, and I was not surprised at all that this happened. I kind of had a feeling that this could happen weeks ago. Beth Phoenix made a return, and then she chased Maurice around ringside. This distracted The Miz, and then Edge was able to deliver the spear for the win. The match wasn't terrible, even though, like I said, I had no care going into this match, just because there was no story. I told you guys, I said the match could be okay for all we know, but I have no care. I have no care. WWE has given us no reason to care about this match. There's no story. Seriously, with everybody you have on Monday Night Raw, you have Edge feuding with this. You don't know how long Edge is gonna be here, right? But you want to waste Edge feuding with The Miz? You have Bobby Lashley, AJ Styles, Randy Orton. Well, they already done Randy Orton, but Big E, right? You have Brock Lesnar now on Raw. You have all these other people, and you're having Edge feud with The Miz. It was like it's common sense, really. It's really common sense. Excuse me. Excuse me. What? I don't know what's with me today. Anyway, but yeah, it was good to see Beth Phoenix come back. You kind of thought when Beth Phoenix announced that she was stepping down from doing NXT commentary, it made you think that maybe she could be gearing up for another run. I would not mind Beth Phoenix in the women's division. Honestly, the women's division needs it now. The women's division is pretty weak as is, especially with everybody you fucking released. Look, they could do Edge and they could do a mixed tag team match. Not at WrestleMania. You're not wasting Edge at WrestleMania doing a mixed tag team match with The Miz and Maurice. You're not doing what you did in 2017 with John Cena and Nikki Bella. You're not doing that. I could see them doing Edge and Beth Phoenix versus Miz and Maurice. I don't know, maybe at the Rumble. I don't know. I would think Edge would be in the Royal Rumble match. Maybe they do it sometime on Raw in the next couple weeks. But it would be, I guess it would be a way to continue the feud. I kind of hope that they don't continue the feud and they move Edge on to something else, especially as we gear up going to the WrestleMania season. But it would not surprise me at all if they did sometime in the next couple weeks or at the Royal Rumble, if they did Beth Phoenix and Edge, against Miz and Maurice in a mixed tag team match of sorts. Right. And the thing is, we've seen this before. We've seen the Miz and Maurice versus Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella. We've seen it against John Cena and Nikki Bella. So I would not be surprised if they did it a third time, and this time it being Edge and Maurice. We'll have to see what happens. But I would not mind if Beth Phoenix wants to make another run in that women's division. Like I said, the women's division needs it right now. It desperately needs it. But we'll see. All right, next up we had Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship. And this, like I said, if you guys have just tuning in, if I had to give an MVP performance tonight, right? And before we get into that, I want to read Bleacher Report's analysis here. Edge is an all-timer. Miz is criminally underrated. I don't know. Anyway, before anything, I want to say that I want to say Liv Morgan was the MVP of the night. And Liv Morgan carried Becky Lynch in this match. What's one thing I always talk about all the time? I talk about what makes Sasha Banks the best female wrestler in the world? What makes Bayley so great? What makes Asuka so great? They elevate others. right? Not only do they elevate themselves, and they always remind you why they're the best in the world at what they do, they elevate others in the process. That's what Sasha's done, right? That's what Asuka did when she was NXT champion for 500 days. Bayley has done the same thing throughout her career. And even though WWE has not always done right by those women, still, we always recognize them as the best of the best in the world, right? Liv Morgan tonight carried Becky Lynch, which is sad because for somebody that WWE loves so much in Becky Lynch, right? She did not elevate Liv. She did not elevate Liv. Liv elevated herself tonight. That's what happened in that ring. Don't get it twisted, people. That was a great match because Liv Morgan showed how great she is as a professional wrestler. Becky Lynch did not elevate Liv Morgan tonight. Liv Morgan elevated herself. It's that simple. Really. I want to read you guys the analysis from Bleacher Report about this match. Where is it? So, everything was in place for Morgan to complete her childhood dream and capture the Raw Women's Championship. The build was there. There was a clear groundswell of support for her, which I will say, yes, Liv had a huge crowd behind her tonight. As dead as that crowd was for most of the show, they were hot for Liv Morgan. The crowd was in it, and it helped this match a lot. For all the bad that WWE has done, and they've done Liv dirty a lot over the years, that crowd was hot for Liv tonight, and it was great to see. Anyway, a clear ground wall of support for her to capture her first title, and the match unfolded in a way that suggested the story would get the appropriate payoff. Instead, it didn't happen. Instead, WWE opted to further enhance a star who has been on top of the division since WrestleMania XXV, which is facts. Guys, think about it. WrestleMania 35 was Becky's crowning moment. She has been on top ever since then. Even after she was pregnant, she came back and was given the championship her first day back. Becky has been on top of the mountain since WrestleMania 35. It's ridiculous, really. Lynch won cleanly without a single hint of cheating, even though Becky did flop. It was clear that if you look back at it, Becky was supposed to have her foot on the rope, but she couldn't reach. She didn't get the right distance between her foot and the rope, so it looked like Becky won clean. But clearly Becky was, supposed to cheat and get her foot on the rope again. She absorbed everything Morgan threw at her and still picked up the win. While there is nothing wrong with a champion out-wrestling her or his opponent en route to win, the storytelling very clearly sets something up rather than Morgan's latest failure. No stars will ever be made by constantly failing to win titles. By the time they do, people stop caring or grow bored, asked Lex Luger. Morgan should have won here. Even if she dropped it back in short order, it would have preserved her popularity, freshened up Lynch's persona for a bit, and set up one last showdown between the competitors before WrestleMania. As it is, look for Bianca Belair to step up and challenge for the title next. Hey, I completely agree with what Bleacher Report says here. What the fuck does Liv Morgan do now? I told you guys 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, right? Liv should have beat Becky. Liv should have beat Becky 4 weeks ago on Raw. Even though the match was nowhere close to as good as this match was, and that was because of how great Liv was, Liv should have won 4 weeks ago. Even if you were going to give Liv a short title reign, the story had it. Liv's the babyface. Everybody wanted her to win. But no, you do the same shit you've been doing forever. The same people on top. Why do you think Toni Storm is gone, guys? Why do you think Toni Storm is gone and is not going to come back? Because it's always the same people constantly on top. WWE never changes. Becky's not losing that title before WrestleMania, but it's always the same stuff. Nothing different. Becky didn't elevate Liv tonight. Liv elevated herself. And it's sad because Becky, for all her popularity, right, and how WWE looks at her as one of their big stars, See, she should have been the one elevating Liv tonight. Liv should have had the need to go out there and elevate herself. Becky should have been able to do that for her. If Becky is so great. And it's sad. The story was there for Liv. Now, what does Liv do? What? You hope that, I guess when you look at the Royal Rumble, most likely Sasha's the favorite to win it. It's either going to be Sasha. You can make a case for Liv Morgan, but I think Sasha's going to win it. I'd be very surprised if Liv won the Royal Rumble. But, still, what does Liv do now? She just goes back to mediocrity. Because it wasn't like she was doing much before she started feuding with Becky. Now that the feud is pretty much over, what does Liv do now? Would Becky losing the title have hurt her? No. Becky's been on top for the last 2 years. She has not lost a championship match in 2 years. She never lost the Raw Women's Championship. She vacated the title to Asuka. She got pregnant, left, came back, beat Bianca at SummerSlam, right? Then traded the titles with Charlotte and has not lost since. Becky has not lost a title match in nearly 2 years. It's insane. Becky losing to Liv tonight wouldn't have done anything. It would have made Liv into a bigger star. It would have hurt Becky at all. But now, what does Liv go? What happens to Liv now? She goes right back to the pit of everybody else. Even though everybody was rooting for her. You had video packages. You had everything. And instead, no, you go back to the same thing. It's sad and pathetic. Really. I want to be on this boat where Liv wins at WrestleMania. I want to see it happen. I'm saying Sasha should be the one to win the Royal Rumble, but I want to see it happen. I don't want to. I'm sorry, man. I know people are going to say it should be Bianca Belair. No. Bianca got her moment last year. And even though I guess it would kind of make sense, because this all started with Bianca and Becky at SummerSlam. But remember, Becky already beat Bianca. That feud's been over for a couple months now, right? Now you're just going to pick things up and you're just going to try to act like the last 6 months didn't happen? No. We're all going to remember what happened at SummerSlam. We're all going to remember all the times Becky beat Bianca in the last couple months. Honestly, it's Liv's time. You want to build a new star? You had the opportunity to do it. I don't know how Liv gets into the Raw Women's Championship match at WrestleMania. I have a feeling that if Ronda Rousey doesn't come back, and it doesn't really look like that right now, right? You're going to probably have some kind of multi-man Women's Championship match at Mania. You're going to have Sasha and Charlotte most likely for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and then you're going to have Becky defending against maybe Asuka and Bayley. We don't know. But Bianca's almost definitely going to be in there, right? And hopefully Liv. You never know about Rhea Ripley or Doudrop. You don't know about any of these other people. So, in my opinion, I don't know how we get there, but I want Liv to become the Raw Women's Champion. I wish they had done it tonight, or I wish they would have done it a couple weeks ago, even if it was going to be for the short term. But I'm so tired of WWE just doing the same old shit. Like, seriously. It always has to be about Becky and Charlotte. They don't elevate anybody. And it's sad. It's sad. And it sucks because Liv showed tonight how good she really is. Liv busted her ass off tonight. If you didn't know that Liv Morgan was a good professional wrestler after tonight, or before tonight, you definitely know now. And the thing is, because when you watch a Becky Lynch match, Becky does the same offense every single time. It's the same moves, always leading to that stupid disarmor. But then Liv Morgan absolutely showed out tonight, and still she gets nothing. She goes back to catering, goes back to the pit like everybody else, and it should not be that way. It shouldn't be that way. Yeah, I hope somehow, some way, this leads to Liv winning at WrestleMania. I don't think it's gonna happen. I want to be wrong, but it's just sad how WWE is just pathetic, and all they do is always just push the same people on top every single time. So the match itself was great because Liv Morgan wrestled the best match of her career. It makes me want to see Sasha Banks versus Liv Morgan. Oh my gosh, I would love to see a Sasha Banks and Liv Morgan match. Anyway, Liv took the fight to Becky from the opening bell. She delivered a springboard code breaker. Right, Liv had some really impressive moves in this match. She did a really well springboard code breaker. Right, then her and Becky fought around ringside. She did a Rings of Saturn submission. Then after a gorilla press slam from the top rope, from Becky took advantage. But Liv kept fighting and fighting back, right? And then on commentary, they kept talking about how surprised Becky was on the fight from Liv Morgan and how much it took Becky to beat Liv. Lynch then answered with a disarmer, but Morgan fought out and delivered a DDT for a close 2 count. The crowd was clearly on Liv's side throughout the match. Liv did a beautiful springboard sunset flip powerbomb. Like, if you guys remember at SummerSlam back in 2019 when Sasha did that powerbomb on Asuka onto the floor. You guys remember how brutal that powerbomb was? That's what this reminded me of. Liv, this was one of the best spots of the night. Liv did a beautiful springboard sunset flip powerbomb. Beautiful. That's when people were like, damn, Liv could do that? I was like, yeah, Liv is way better than y'all thought. It was a beautiful sunset flip powerbomb. So Lynch went for a leg drop but missed from the top rope. Morgan delivered a missile drop kick. Becky then rolled to the floor to prevent a pinfall, right? Liv added a crossbody through the ropes onto the floor, right? But then Becky was able to take advantage when she bashed Morgan's face into the commentary table. Morgan recovered, stuck Lynch's arms in the stairs. So remember a couple weeks ago when Lynch put Morgan's arms into the stairs, Morgan was finally able to get some payback. This is what I'm talking about. Like, you had everything, the story itself, Liv getting payback on Becky for Becky smashing her arms into the steps. Now Liv as the babyface getting that revenge. Everything was put in order. Everything was put in order for Liv to get her payback tonight, right? But no, it's always the same old shit with WWE. Then back in the ring, Liv then did the Ring of Saturn, basically Johnny Gargano's move, but did the Rings of Saturn submission. I was like, damn, could we? For a second, I thought maybe Lynch would actually tap out. How great would this be if Lynch tapped out here? But of course, that's not what happened. Lynch rolled her up for 2. Liv then went for her finisher, the Oblivion, but Lynch countered, drove her into the mat with the manhandle slam, right? Becky did botch the ending here because she was supposed to put her feet on the rope, right, to cheat again, but clearly she couldn't reach. And then she gets the pinfall victory. So basically, for right now, at least, this is the end of the feud. Sad because I really was rooting for Liv, even though I knew Becky was not going to win. But Liv, man, look, even though she didn't win, Liv absolutely she wrestled her ass off tonight. And definitely she has my respect. I hate that, Liv's not going to win. And she probably won't win at WrestleMania. But, if WWE had any common sense, they would see how great Liv is tonight. And they would book a story for Liv to get her payback at WrestleMania. I'm tired of the same old crap with just being about Becky and Charlotte. Everyone else, go fuck yourself. Really. I don't know what you do with Becky now. Going to the Royal Rumble, you could, I guess, maybe you could do Becky versus Bianca again, unless they have that plan for WrestleMania. You could do Becky versus Doudrop, even though Doudrop really hasn't been built up for that type of match yet, right? But at house shows, they have been doing Becky versus Bianca versus Doudrop, so you never know. Maybe Doudrop's next in line. I don't know. You could always maybe do Rhea Ripley. But remember Rhea and Nikki ASH are kind of feuding with Carmella and Queen Selena for the tag titles right now. So I don't think that's happening. Like I said, I don't know. Look, and here's the thing. We have no idea what WWE does now with Becky Lynch. But Bianca's really the only person that you can make the argument, is ready to face Becky again. But really, see, if you had Liv win tonight, or if you had Liv win a couple weeks ago on Raw, we wouldn't be talking about this. Because then you could just build up to a rematch at the Royal Rumble. But because you just want to be obvious and you want to be uncreative and all you care about is booking the same people all the fucking time, here we are. Here we are. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. I don't know what happens from here. I'm rooting for Liv. And I hope this somehow ends with Liv becoming Raw Women's Champion. Even though it probably won't, but still. But it just sucks that WWE will never change their ways. They never will. Let me look in the chat real quick. BX Kid says Rumble is Becky versus Rhea Ripley. I just told you that's probably not going to happen unless they do unless Rhea and Nikki ASH don't regain the tag titles from Selena and Carmella, right? And then they just move Rhea on to Becky. I don't think the match is happening, but we'll see. BX Kids also says, I'm sorry, the only star power of Becky is going to lose that title is Bianca Belair. Why does it always have to be about star power, though? Why? Why can't we build up the next generation? It's always the same people at the top. That's what people don't understand. It's always about, somebody with the same level of star power has to be the one to defeat Becky. Why does it always have to be that? Why can't we build up the next generation? Isn't that the job? Isn't that the job of people like Becky and Charlotte and Brock and Roman? Isn't it their job to build up the next stars when their title reigns end? I don't know. Isn't that the point? Why does someone like Bianca have to be the one to take the title off Becky? Why can't it be Liv? Liv showed you tonight she has everything needed to be a star in the women's division. She has the ability. She's over with the crowd. Like what else does Liv Morgan have to do? Why does it have to be Bianca? I don't get that at all. It's like still, and now you're saying Bianca has to win the Rumble. Dude, Bianca's not winning the Rumble. She just won it last year. She's not going back to back. It's going to be Sasha or Liv. And it's probably 90% likely to be Sasha. Maybe Bayley, right? But I don't think Bayley's going to be ready in time for the Rumble. I think Bayley's probably going to return after the Royal Rumble. I don't even know if Bayley's been training for an in-ring return. So we don't even know if Bayley's ready to come back. So no, I don't think it could be Bayley, but I don't think Bayley's gonna come back in time. Could be Asuka. We don't know. We have no idea when Asuka's gonna come back. But Bianca winning the Royal Rumble, get out of here with that. No, that's not happening. It's not happening. Oh yeah, Case, I do agree with you there. Yeah, that jacket that Becky wear was stupid. I hate when Becky wears those ridiculous outfits, right? She wears those outfits where it says she's the GOAT. She's not the GOAT. She's nowhere close to the GOAT in my opinion. The best female wrestler in the world, the best female wrestler of all time is Sasha Banks. I'm not going to argue with that on that, but I hate when Becky wears those stupid GOAT outfits when she's not. She doesn't elevate others. Just because WWE rides you, right? Just because WWE rides you and has been riding you for the last 2 years doesn't make you the GOAT. JD says people need to realize that just because she had that big run in 2018 or 2019, it doesn't mean that she can do it all or elevate the division as champion. Basically what I just said. No says, and people wonder why Tony Storm wants out of WWE. It's that stupid shit like this with Becky and Charlotte. Agreed. Already said that. For all you guys saying Bianca needs to win, JD, I disagree with you. Bianca does not need to win the Royal Rumble. It's either Sasha. You can make a case for Bayley if Bayley comes back, right? Or Liv. I think it's Sasha's the clear cut favorite. I'm sorry, I'm not on this Bianca should win the Royal Rumble. We did that last year. Simple. Like we need to do the same thing that Sasha did last year for Bianca? Do we serious? If Bianca wins the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania, okay, but I don't think she needs to win the Rumble to get a match with Becky. I'm sorry. No, we don't. We need to do a full repeat of what we did last year with Sasha. Legit, it would be a full repeat. Bianca winning the Royal Rumble and then challenging Sasha for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Oh, 2022, Bianca winning the Rumble again and challenging Becky for the Raw Women's Championship. No, it's either Sasha or Liv or Bayley. You know, and I don't think Liv's gonna do it. I don't think WWE would do that. So it comes down really to Sasha and Bayley. And Bayley, I don't even think Bayley's gonna be healthy in time for the Rumble. So to me, it's probably gonna be Sasha. I do agree with what JD says. I would have Liv run the gauntlet and then earn a spot in the triple threat because her and Bianca both were beaten by surprise roll-ups. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that booking. You know? But, Bianca winning the Royal Rumble, no. No. Yeah, facts. Here's another thing. Liv should have won Money in the Bank last year. Who was the one saying that? I was the one saying that Liv or Naomi should have won Money in the Bank last year, but instead they wanted to waste it on Nikki ASH. Just not even for Nikki ASH's own benefit. It was just to elevate Charlotte at the end of the day. Pathetic. Simply put, pathetic. Dogg says Alexa Bliss is another person that needs to come back. Guys, that is something to watch for. That is something to watch for because Alexa Bliss, she took personal time off after she lost the Charlotte at what was it? Clash of Champions, I think it was, right? Oh, no, it wasn't Clash of Champions, it was Extreme Rules, my bad. She lost the shot at Extreme Rules. Alexa's been out now for what, close to 4 months? I would not be surprised at all if Alexa Bliss comes back and they have her challenge Becky Lynch. Right? Alexa was very over as a babyface, right? I would not be surprised at all if they did Alexa versus Becky when Alexa comes back. So that's something we also, like I said, I have no idea really what's going to happen with Becky Lynch going to WrestleMania. There's many different options. If it was up to me, we would do Liv Morgan. If it was up to me, I would have Liv Morgan win the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania. But there's honestly a lot of things that could happen. They could go with Liv. It could be Bianca. It could be Bayley. If Bayley's back by then. It could be Asuka. It could be Alexa Bliss. It could be Rhea Ripley. It could be Ronda Rousey. There's about 7 different names that could be in contention to face Becky at WrestleMania. On SmackDown, Sasha's pretty much the only obvious one. But on Raw, there's a lot of things. So yeah, we do need to be we do have to think about Alexa Bliss because I'm willing to bet there's no way I would be very surprised if Alexa wasn't back for WrestleMania season. I'd be very surprised if she wasn't back before it. Some of you guys getting heated in the chat. JD says the only two top stars that should be in the title picture are Sasha and Bailey. They're literally in the early stages in their primes with Bianca. Charlotte and Becky are nearly the end of theirs. The other women should be getting more build up until they're ready for the titles. I don't think they're going to do Io. I don't think they're going to do Io at all. You guys really, Io? Seriously? You think Vince McMahon's going to bring Io up? Yeah, right. Gregory says Asuka could return on Monday. I don't know when Asuka. Do you have a report on that? I saw Asuka. She did post on social media today. She just posted Happy New Year. I've heard nothing about when Asuka's coming back. So if somebody does have any information about Asuka coming back, because she's been gone now for 6 months at least, right? Last time we saw her was was it Money in the Bank? You know, back in July, June. Asuka's been gone now for nearly half a year. I miss Asuka. So I don't know. If anybody has any information, if Asuka came back, I would be fine with that. I would have no problem with them doing Becky and Asuka at the Rumble. Not at all, you know. Becky and Asuka have had two amazing Royal Rumble matches in the past. Remember Becky versus Asuka from, I believe it was 2019? Yeah, it was 2019, when Asuka was the SmackDown Women's Champion. And then you had Becky versus Asuka the next year for the Raw Women's Championship. I would love to see Asuka versus Becky Lynch again, right? Then this time they've never done what Asuka as the babyface and Becky Lynch as the heel. They've done it with Asuka as the heel and Becky as the face. They've done it with Asuka and Becky both as baby faces, but now we've never seen Asuka as the face and Becky as the heel. I would have no problem seeing that, but I haven't heard anything about Asuka coming back. I don't know. BX Kid, don't ask me that question. Really. Who could I see win if they did a surprise? There's nobody. Maybe the only person is maybe Raquel Gonzalez. That's it. Because you know Vince is horny for big people. So maybe Vince. So yeah, Raquel Gonzalez maybe. There's nobody else in that NXT Women's division where that I think that, you know, Vince looks at and sees star potential. Raquel Gonzalez is the only other person. So I don't think I would not be surprised if Raquel Gonzalez is in the Women's Royal Rumble, because they're going to need the names. They've released so many females that I think they only have about 17 active women on the main roster at first. So they're going to need about 13 other people to fill out the Women's Royal Rumble, outside of whoever they bring back for Legends, right? But and I think there's a good chance Raquel Gonzalez will be in the Women's Royal Rumble. I just think Raquel Gonzalez would be the most likely, but there's no way WWE would ever consider having one of those somebody from NXT win the Women's Royal Rumble. Never. It would never happen. Chris, JD is right. USA and NBC won't let that happen. There is nobody. Yeah, there's no way that's gonna happen. There's no way that would happen. Yeah, like and that's the thing. That's the thing. JD's 100% correct. If you look in the chat, 100% correct. There's no way that NBC and Fox, all right, or Fox and USA and NBC are gonna let that happen. It's probably the reason why the brand split is not gonna end. You're not gonna merge the titles. The Fox won. Remember, it was Fox that told WWE, "You better keep Roman on Fox," right? It was Fox that told WWE, "You better keep Roman on SmackDown." You know, Fox and NBC like the idea of having separate rosters. They like that. So they're not going to do that. They're not going to merge the titles. They're not going to merge the titles. You guys got to think about this, man. Use your heads. Vader asks, Fitz, who do you hope beats Charlotte or Becky? There's nothing else. There is no difference. There's no difference. So, Sauce is the only person that should be defeating Charlotte. There's nobody else. All right? And Liv should be defeating Becky. Simple as that. I guess on Raw, there's way more options. Like, I would be mad if it was Bayley. I would be mad if it was Bianca. I would be mad if it was Ronda Rousey. I would be mad if it was Asuka. But easily for me, Sasha and Liv should be the ones taking those titles off of Becky and Charlotte. Simple as that. And there's nobody else on SmackDown that should be taking that title off Charlotte. Shotzi's been buried. They haven't used her at all. Naomi, she's still feuding with Sonya Deville. You just released Toni Storm's gone. Sasha's the only person that should be taking that title off Charlotte. All right. But yeah, I'll let you guys keep talking in the chat. But I'm going to move on here to the main event. So we had the Fatal 5-Way for the WWE Championship. Of course, you guys should have all known the news from now. It was originally this match was supposed to be Seth Rollins versus Big E. Remember, Seth Rollins won a ladder match. He won like a Fatal 4-Way ladder match with Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, and Rey Mysterio weeks ago. That made him the number one contender. This was originally supposed to be a one-on-one match between Rollins and Big E. Then Owens lied his way into the match to make it a triple threat. Lashley then won his way into the match when he beat Big E, Rollins, and KO all in the same night, right? And then Lesnar was the last-minute addition because of what happened with Roman, right? But I'm going to be honest, we probably would have got to this outcome tonight regardless, because like I said, if Roman had defeated Lesnar tonight, they would have had Lesnar use his free agent status. He would have walked over to Raw. He would have challenged Big E for the Royal Rumble, and we would have probably still got the same result we got at the end tonight, no matter how much it pisses me off. It's really that simple. It's really that simple. But, what do I know? But getting into the match itself, this was a fantastic match. As much as I hate the ending, the match was fantastic. It was hard hitting. These they absolutely went on it. So really, basically, Big E and Lashley went right at each other from the start. They fought on the outside. Lesnar went off, suplexing Rollins and Owens all over the mat. I originally thought that Owens or Rollins, one of these two men, would take the pin, but it happened for neither one of them. Anyway, so Lashley and Lesnar, I was very disappointed because we didn't get any stare down between these two, right? They only really interacted with each other twice throughout the entire match, but there was no stare down. I feel like that would have been a great moment. Especially when we all talk about how much we want a one-on-one between Lashley and Lesnar. But we saw Lashley drove Lesnar to the timekeeper's position. I personally hate that spot because we see that spot way too often, right? We see that with Goldberg, we see it with Roman, we see it with Lashley. We even sometimes see it with Charlotte. I honestly hate that spot, to be honest. But yes, Lesnar got drove through the timekeeper's position, and I kind of knew that was gonna happen because anytime you have like a big match with Lesnar always gets taken out early, right? But then Big E then put Lashley through the announce table, which was a fantastic spot, right? So then Lesnar was starting to get back into the match, but then Rollins and Owens double teamed. They did a double DDT to Lesnar, right? Then they drove him into the ring steps. So then back in the ring, Rollins went for a stomp on Big E, But then Lesnar got back in the match, and then Lesnar hit everybody with F5s, right? He hit Rollins with an F5. He hit, then he hit Big E with one. Then Owens tried to hit him with a stunner, but then he got an F5 himself. And then lastly hit him with a spear. For a second there, I thought this was going to be the end of the match, right? But then Big E recovered. Big E recovered. Lesnar did get put in the hurt block by Lashley, which was a pretty cool sight, right? And then Big E hit Lashley with a big ending. And then I thought Big E was going to hit Lesnar with a big ending. I would have popped so hard if Big E had won the match by pinning Lesnar and hitting the big ending. But Lesnar reversed it with an F5. I got sad because I was like, oh my gosh, nobody's going to come and, break up the count. And then Lesnar is now the new WWE champion. It hurts my heart. It hurts my heart. Seriously, man, because after everything you did to build up Big E throughout 2021, having him win the Money in the Bank, having him win the IC title, right? All of that. Plus you had him cut all those promos, man. Big E cut a beautiful promo earlier in the show. Beautiful promo. And, still, and in fact is he had great matches with Lashley. Like the steel cage match with Lashley was great. The match with Roman at Survivor Series was great, even though Big E should have won that match. He had a great match with Drew McIntyre at Crown Jewel. Big E was a fantastic WWE champion, and I feel like his run ended way too soon. But of course, what do I know, right? You got to go back to the same path that WWE has been traveling for the last decade. Having Lesnar on top, having Roman on top. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, man. And I hate it. I hate it. I hate that we're stuck in this position. We're stuck in this endless pit, and we might never get out of it, man. This is sad, really. I hate that Big E is no longer WWE champion, and he probably won't regain that championship anytime soon. After all the work you put into him, and after he truly proved that he was a main event star, and he should be one of the cornerstones for WWE for years and years and years to come. I hate that it ended like that for Big E. But, WWE will never change from their old ways. It might be a new year, it might be 2022, but WWE will never change. Never. And, clearly, they'll probably do Big E and Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. It'll probably be a great match, but Big E will pin, or Big E will get another F5 from Lesnar. He'll get pinned, right? Lesnar will retain, and then we'll probably get Lashley and Lesnar at Mania. And even though that will be exciting, it just sucks because I love Big E. I loved his championship reign, and it just sucks that it ended so soon. Really. I just hate that it ended so soon for Big E. But what do I know, right? What do I know? Clearly having part-time Brock as champion again is what we all need. Right, Roy Nation? You say the best. New year, same old shit. Like, seriously, that's the best way to put it. New year, same old shit, same old WWE. Let me look at the chat. Yep, I agree with everything you say in the chat, man. Gregory, that should be the case. Yes, Lashley should win at WrestleMania. I don't know what happens, because I said this earlier. We know that WWE wants to turn Lashley into a babyface, but Lesnar's a babyface right now. You could always turn Lesnar into a heel, but Lesnar's been pretty great as a babyface. So, and just to change up and go back to normal Lesnar as a heel, I don't know if I'm with that. You could always do babyface versus babyface if you want, right? But I feel like for a feud this big, you kind of need a babyface and a heel. But Lashley should win at WrestleMania easily if this ends up being Lesnar and Lashley. And I do think this is where they're heading. it is going to be very interesting to see what happens on Raw. In my prediction, I think Big E's going to challenge Lesnar to a rematch on Raw, and it's definitely going to bring the ratings up a little bit, just because people are going to be very interested to see what happens, right? Definitely you're going to see probably Rollins angry and Owens very angry, right? Because, you know, they're especially for Rollins, you know, Rollins has to be pissed because, like I said, the match was originally a one-on-one, and then now, you know, it turned into a fatal five-way where his odds to win the match were super low. You know, I did not mention also the Paul Heyman aspect. You know, will Paul Heyman join? Because we know Paul Heyman, he's no longer with Roman Reigns. You know, that's very interesting. That's very, very interesting now, because now that you know, Roman got COVID and the plans changed, we don't know what originally was planned between Roman and Lesnar for day one. We can assume that Roman was, you know, set to win, but we don't know, you know, if Paul Heyman was supposed to get involved, if Heyman was supposed to be on Lesnar's side. We don't know what was supposed to happen. Now that clearly the plans have changed, right? What happens now? Does Heyman somehow end up back with Roman? Will Heyman follow Lesnar to Raw? Right? I can't imagine Heyman not being on one of their sides going to Mania season, but it's definitely going to be very interesting to see how WWE handles that. You know, the Paul Heyman aspect of all this, because we can't forget about that. You know, there was one funny thing is, and Lesnar cut the Heyman program. Lesnar, he got interviewed by Caleb Braxton, right? And Lesnar said, "My name is Brock Lesnar," and basically he said that it doesn't matter because, you know, he's walking out WWE champion tonight. And he also said the Paul Heyman line, that's not a prediction, and that's a spoiler. And the second he said that, I was like, fuck, here we go. You know? So, yeah. But I'm going to take one last look in the chat. Vader the Hedgehog, man. This guy's kind of hilarious, man. Premium live events. Yeah. Don't get me started on that. I'm not talking about that tonight. I agree with all you guys. I agree with all you guys, man. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see. But, you know, like I said, day one tonight wasn't a terrible show. I'm not going to sit here and say it was an amazing show. There was some really good action, right? Liv Morgan gets my MVP moment of the night. The main event was fantastic. You know, I'm just unhappy with the finish. It wasn't a terrible pay-per-view. You know, I'm just unhappy with the way it turned out. But other than that, you know, it wasn't a terrible way to start the year. You know, it's more just, you know, New Year, same WWE shit when it comes to who's at the top. Same year, new shit. We'll never build up the next generation. We're just gonna continue with the same people on top, and that's my main problem with WWE. It's not even with the show tonight. It was actually a decent pay-per-view. It's more that WWE will never build up the next generation, and will continue to only focus on Brock and Roman and Charlotte and Becky, and it's sad. It's sad that here we are in 2022, and we're getting the same stuff we've seen for the last decade. It's sad. But, you know, enough of me ranting. I think you guys have heard enough from me for tonight. Other than that, guys, that's about all I got for you guys today. Thank you, guys. Thank you so very much for joining me on another episode of the Legit Shoot podcast. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys so very much. It has been a long week. Long week, man. We have posted tons of content, from the Raw review to the extra on Sasha Banks that we did on Tuesday, to AEW Dynamite on Wednesday. And then we did our end of the year stream on Friday, right? And now tonight with day one, I think I've given you guys close to 10 hours. I think I've given you guys close to 10 hours of podcast content this week alone. So definitely, if you guys enjoyed all the podcast content this week, leave a like on this video. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel by hitting the bell right to my name, FitzMonkTV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video, man. It's a new year, man. So for definitely, we're gonna have some new viewers, man. Well, come to the channel. This is your place you want to be for WWE and AEW content. We do pay-per-view reviews. We do live streams. We do all that good stuff here. But like I said, I should be back. Our next podcast will be on Monday, Monday Night Raw. I'm expecting Brock Lesnar to be on the show. We'll see what happens with the WWE Championship picture. We'll see what happens with AJ and Almas. We'll see what's next for Edge. We'll see what happens with Rollins and Owens and RK Bro. And, how will Biggie and Lashley react to Lesnar's win? We'll see. So definitely Raw will be an interesting one, as now we turn towards the Royal Rumble. The next big show as we enter WrestleMania season. We start to build towards the Royal Rumble. So let's see what happens with that. I'll see you guys then. Like I said, thank you guys for the love and support. Thank you to everyone who live tweeted with me. My social media is in the description down below, so make sure to follow me down on there. But yeah, thank you guys for everything, man. Thank you guys for the super chats. Thank you guys, man. It's gonna be an interesting year, man. Hopefully it's a good year for all, man. And if I haven't yet, I just want to say Happy New Year to you guys, man. Stay safe, stay healthy, man. Things are crazy out there. Make sure to take care of yourself and your loved ones. I will see you guys later. Have a great night, guys. Peace.